Good evening. This is Just Be Well. I'm Dr. Sult, a functional medicine practitioner.
I'm Elizabeth, a registered nurse and whole life coach.
And we're finishing our short series on autoimmune disease today. We talked on Monday about the general overview and arc of what functional medicine has to contribute to the alleviation of autoimmune disease, and then we dove deep into dietary factors on Wednesday, and tonight we're going to talk about other lifestyle interventions and answer your questions regarding autoimmunity and the like. And hello, Misty.
Hi, Misty.
So, what are the modifiable lifestyle factors?
The first one is sleep,
Oh,
and then you have nutrition, rest, relaxation, so stress management,
exercise,
movement,
and relationships.
and then relationships.
Yeah. So under sleep, there's a great book. You really, if you have autoimmunity or if you're unwell in any way, you really need to read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, PhD. It's a great summary of the research. He is a deep researcher in sleep, and it's a great summary of the science behind sleep and how it impacts every facet of our life. Sleep deprivation is super common and really bad. It's actually worse to be sleep deprived and drive than it is to be drunk and driving. It is absolutely one of the worst things you can do for your immune system. It causes all kinds of chaos within the immune system if you're sleep deprived. So sleep is just gigantic.
And if you think about it, think how you feel after a poor night's sleep and how that affects your entire day.
Yeah.
Just when it comes down to even your thought process and problem solving and trying to stay on task. I know when I don't get enough sleep, it's like I have ADD. I just go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next.
Squirrel.
Yes. And then, symptoms are worse, like a lot of people have brain fog. And then we're reading.
Please say hello to your members. Okay, you know what? I will, and I'm sorry I haven't been there more, Misty. You mentioned in your comment your Facebook group, or the Facebook group, Scleroderma and Functional Medicine. I'll get over there and say hi, absolutely.
Yes.
And I apologize I haven't been there more. Hi, Bridget.
Hi, Bridget.
So, yeah, sleep is huge. So what kind of things does functional medicine offer for sleep enhancement in terms of behavioral and
So sleep, really, we have to think about it as, preparing for it from the time we wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I agree.
So, just how we are functioning throughout our day and, bringing us back into awareness of the present moment and trying to keep ourselves out of being in that constant fight or flight, because the longer you're in fight or flight, especially as you get closer into the evening, it's harder and harder to rev yourself out of it, and you can be so exhausted. But then as soon as you lay down to hit the pillow, your body's exhausted, but your mind just won't let you sleep because you're still in that response of fight or flight and fleeting thoughts and planning. And
if you think about it, fight or flight occurs evolutionarily when we're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, right? And so, metaphorically, if you're being chased by saber-toothed tigers all day long, it makes very little sense to sit down or lay down and close your eyes, right? So it is just physiologically very difficult to fall asleep if your physiology believes you're being chased by saber-toothed tigers. And Yolanda and Byron, hi.
Hi.
And Yolanda. So, that makes some sense. I like to say that, most people, they start with a neck. and then they get more and more uptight, and by the end of the day, they don't have a neck anymore, you know? And we want to restore that neck and maintain your neck all day long. And we do that with any kind of mindfulness or meditative or prayer or exercise. There's a million ways to manage stress. You just have to find a few that work for you and then commit to them.
Yeah. And one of the things that I find most helpful for me is I can tell I'm stressed during the day when I start to get these 11s between my eyes. And honestly, when I just work on relaxing my brow line, and sometimes I have to do it manually, so I just rub between my eyes and it relaxes my face, and I just feel it like relax my entire body. I feel better even after doing that for a moment.
Yeah, yeah. Brian Pearson, dude!
Hi, Brian.
So we now have people from California, Florida, Canada, and New London, Minnesota. Let's change and talk about relationships. And Brene Brown has a great saying that I always butcher, so I'm going to give it to you about all the conversations. Yeah.
Let's see if I can get this right, like Wednesday. So we have many conversations throughout the day, and a few of those involve other people.
Yeah, a few of them involve other people. In other words, we're talking to ourselves all day long. Brene Brown has a great book out called Braving the Wilderness, and it is really about standing in your own greatest self in terms of relationships, improving your relationship with yourself, which in turn improves your relationship with others. So often we are stuck in the cycle of trying to predict the future. And as Yogi Berra said, predictions are difficult, especially about the future.
Especially when they involve other people.
And especially when they involve other people.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly thinking, ooh, I'm going to say this. Oh, but wait a minute. They might think I mean this, so I better not say that. I'll say this. Oh, but wait, they might think that, so I better not say that. And you're just sort of spinning out of control with sort of these communications. And instead, goes back to another book I love called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and just be impeccable with your word. Be compassionate, but be who you are. And this book, Braving the Wilderness, I think is really powerful for improving your personal relationship with yourself, and which, frankly, most of us have a very difficult time with. Most of us can be sitting in a room all by ourselves. A memory will come to us and we will blush with embarrassment when there's nobody else in the room. And that just says something about our own relationship with ourselves. And so really improving that relationship improves the relationship with others and significantly improves immune function. Exercise and movement. If you are suffering from autoimmunity, the probability is that it's very hard for you to move. And St. Cloud, Minnesota, Shelley, hi. It's probably hard for you to move. But as I like to say, where there is no will, there is no way. But where there is will, there is a way, right? So movement of some kind. And if you have to get into a pool because you need the weightlessness of it, or if you need to be on a low impact machine like an elliptical or a bicycle, or, like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. But exercise, if you could bottle exercise, it would be a blockbuster drug, because there is nothing more powerful in like every domain of life for health than exercise. So movement. And we like to say joyous movement.
Yeah, and there's a lot of activities that you do throughout your day-to-day life that are joyous, that you can make into joyous movement. There are, exercise doesn't have to be, going to the gym and sweating it out. I've said before, I enjoy cleaning, so I treat...
There's something seriously wrong with her.
Most of the time. Sometimes I don't, but I still treat it as a joyous movement. I treat it as an exercise, and, I get some good music playing, and I start to move with it, and, it does elevate my mood. It does have those benefits as if well, it has better benefits for me than going to the gym, because I don't enjoy going to the gym for many, many reasons.
Many years ago, I watched a movie, and one of the characters was a woman who had breast cancer, and she was doing all kinds of alternative therapies. And one of the things that she was supposed to do was get up like at 3 o'clock in the morning or something stupid and do exercise. So she and her husband are outdoors under the moonlight, and they're just like sleepy and groggy and what the hell are we doing out here? And they're, flapping their arms around. And she looks at her husband and says, there's got to be something we can do in bed that's exercise. And they both kind of light up immediately and run inside. So there are many forms of activity that might be more enjoyable than the gym, and I encourage you to explore those in a socially appropriate way. Linda, hi.
Hi, Linda.
So let's see, we've done sleep, we've done relationships, we've killed nutrition on Tuesday,
Wednesday.
or whenever it was.
Yep.
And we just talked about movement, and I guess we've kind of incorporated stress management and all that.
Yep.
So we've kind of hit those things. There are many, many supplements that we use in functional medicine. Many times supplement choice is driven by testing. Not always. I mean, we can make good guesses. The microbiome, the healthy gut flora is really critical to a healthy immune response. And so probiotics are really helpful, but more important than probiotics are actually prebiotic foods. I like to say that the microbiome is something that if you build it, they will come. So the healthy bacteria will colonize your gut if you provide the right food. And the right food is a grand diversity, a broad, huge diversity of plant fibers. So, we like to say a sick person probably needs to work their way up to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Now, people with dysbiosis, meaning an imbalance in the gut flora, will often have a difficult time digesting fruits and vegetables. They'll get bloated and all that kind of stuff. So slowly increasing it, plus using products like colostrum that help get rid of the bad bacteria, slowly over time you'll be able to increase the amount and diversity of your plant fibers, which will increase the robustness of your microbiome, which will dramatically improve, both from a point of view of defending you from invaders and calming down inflammatory reactions in your body. So we can look at your microbiome in a bunch of ways. One is just, as I just said, increase your prebiotic fibers. But there's also a test called a GIFX, which is a test I use from a lab called Genova. And it looks deeply at your gut metabolism and what bugs are growing in your gut. So that's one of the tests we do, and that can really drive some of the supplementation choices we use. And then I also frequently, especially in this these are all tests that I can do that don't require you to go to a lab. In this COVID-19 era, you can poop into a cup and send it off to the lab, and you can pee into a cup and send it off to a lab. And the pee in a cup test is an organic acid, and it gives us information about your, not the deficiency, but the efficiency with which you use vitamins and minerals and amino acids, fatty acids, antioxidants, toxins, things like that. And when I say efficiency versus deficiency, what I'm saying is that you might have plenty of B12 in your body, but your body might not use it efficiently. And we can tell that by, instead of measuring your B12 level, we measure something called methylmalonic acid or homocysteine. And if those two, one or both of those, are elevated, it tells us that you're not methylating efficiently, which means that you're not using B12, B6, folic acid, things like that well. So there's all kinds of little things that we can do to get really specific to your physiology in functional medicine. And that's how we really design a comprehensive, what I like to call whole life prescription for autoimmunity. Not just giving you a drug that kills a piece of your immune system, but instead something that's going to normalize your immune responses. Let's see what else we have down here. Looks like nothing. So that's really the sort of functional medicine approach to autoimmunity. It's, as if you've been listening for the last couple of weeks, it sounds eerily familiar to the functional medicine approach to Lyme disease, and
Everything.
and it's actually the same. The difference is how it applies uniquely to you, right? Because we say, well, we got to normalize the gut. Well, some people can have dysbiosis that is deficiency dysbiosis. Some people can have overgrowth dysbiosis. Some people can just have imbalanced dysbiosis. And we figure out which of those many different types it is. Other people, other people can have pollen inhalation, which causes issues, and elevated mast cell activation, which causes increased inflammation. So we have to manage those allergic kinds of reactions. Other people have problems with their mitochondria. So even though we always talk about all these modifiable lifestyle factors, and we talk about all these physiological nodes within the matrix, it's always different with each individual. And so teasing it out with deep conversation, history, physical exam, laboratories is really what makes functional medicine highly, highly personalized to you, the singular individual, and their relationship to that disease. So it's not the disease you have that we care so much about. It's your relationship to that disease. It's your relationship to the immune system, relationship to the environment, and how those things interact to result in the disease. So that's the functional medicine approach. That's what we do at our clinic, Just Be Well. And that's why we do these videos to help educate you on what functional medicine is and how you can help yourself. All right.
Bless you, they're saying.
Oh, well, thank you. That's
Thank
nice.
you. Yes, my poor baby's got the sneeze. I have plants up here that I'm growing some vegetables on, so.
They got foliar fed with some respiratory aerosol as the big ski boat flies by behind us. So it's Friday night, and like all of you, apparently you don't have any social life either, like we don't. So we're going to let you go unless you have other questions. If there are more questions, we'd love to entertain them, but we also want to keep these brief so that they're not a waste of your time. All right. Just so you know, there's more information about all of this. I have several pages about functional medicine on my website, which is justbewell.info. Justbewell.info. And, of course, my book goes into all of this in great detail as well. And that can be found on Amazon. Just look up Just Be Well. So, looks like we have no questions. So until, I guess, Monday evening, we will hopefully you'll have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday evening, same bat time, same bat channel. And I just noticed something came up. What are you talking about next week? Yolanda, what would you like to hear about next week? Or anybody else who's listening? What would you like to hear about next week? We'll throw it on you. Otherwise, there's a number of things we can talk about, certainly. But if somebody has a burning question, we can talk about it next week. Yeah. We could, autoimmunity and Lyme are so prevalent that maybe we should do another week on Lyme. What's coming up here? Bridget's saying good night. Okay, we'll talk about sleep next week, because good night.
Yeah, good.
We could talk a whole week on sleep really easily. We could do a whole week on each of the modifiable lifestyle factors really easily. So if you think of it, leave some comments about what you'd like to hear about next week. Otherwise, you'll be at our mercy, I guess. Food allergies. Oh, that's a good one. Food allergies is a really good one. I can listen to you talk every day. Oh, well, thank you. That's nice. She doesn't say that. I don't know why. Yeah. All right. So how about food allergies? We will talk about food allergies because food allergies are really more of a symptom than a cause, and they really fold back into what we've been talking about in autoimmunity. but they're a really interesting phenomenon that I think could be a fun conversation. So let's talk about food allergies next week. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Good night.
Bye.